Presumptive President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. picks Manuel Bonoan as the next head of the Department of Public Works and Highways. Bonoan is not a new face in DPWH, but he's currently in the private sector as President and CEO of SMC Tollways. What are his future plans for the department? He now joins us live on the phone. Good morning, Sir Manny. Thank you so much for taking our call. Now, first of all, congratulations to you. Sir, what was your reaction to Marcos picking you as the next DPWH chief? What made you say yes?
Well, first of all, thank you, Tina, for having me, and good morning to our listeners as well. Well, as far as plans of the Department of Public Works and Highways in this administration of President-elect Bongbong Marcos Jr., we are laying down our plans, initial plans actually, for this administration, and it would be to continue with the build projects that have already been started under this administration of President Duterte, and to finish actually the ongoing projects and at the earliest possible time so that they can be utilized immediately. And then we will have to look into the pipelines and prioritize, most likely, select some of the vital infrastructure projects, particularly on the road sector, which is the core function of the Department of Public Works and Highways, to provide the much-needed road support to the economic growth that we are looking for.
Sir, you're sort of making a comeback here at the agency. You're not new to DPWH. You were an undersecretary for Visayas and Mindanao operations, and then you were acting secretary in 2007 during the Arroyo administration. Sir, how would you compare the pace of the country's infrastructure development then and now?
Well, there has been much improvement actually, but there's lots more to be done actually. Here in this administration, I think we will have to focus on some priority areas like addressing traffic congestion problems along the inter-regional trunk lines and other growth centers. I think if we are able to minimize traffic congestion and provide an efficient, safe, unimpeded mobility to regions and growth centers, I think this will lead down to lower cost of providing goods and services. So we will continue with this, and we will select all the priority projects that will address these issues. At the same time, we will also continue to invite and entice the private sector through our public-private partnership, particularly in urban areas, to address also the traffic congestion problems.
Right. Speaking of traffic, sir, the rainy season is upon us, which means we do expect a lot of traffic and a lot of flooding. How do you plan to help this once you take over the department?
Yeah, well, we will continue actually to look into the flooding problems particularly in growth centers, Metro Manila, Davao, Cebu, and other growth centers in the country, and look what immediately we can undertake to mitigate these flooding problems. This is one of the core functions also of the Department of Public Works and Highways. So certainly there have been master plans in the major river basins, and we will also look into priorities that we have to be undertaken in the short term, and as well as in the long term, so that we can start mitigating all these problems in the areas. At the same time, the President would like also to emphasize to provide support to the agricultural sector for the much-needed food production efforts of the government now, and also to support the tourism industry.
Sir, the
for
Build,
now.
Build, Build program is the centerpiece, or was the centerpiece of the Duterte administration, but really only 12 out of 119 infrastructure projects have reportedly been completed. You talked about this earlier. How do you plan to continue with the unfinished projects, and which ones would you prioritize?
Well, as I said, we put the emphasis to completion of we have to give priorities to complete the ongoing projects now. And as I said, to be able to select high-impact projects to address traffic congestion problems, mobility, and support to the agricultural areas and tourism. So I will look into the pipeline, actually, so that in these times, in these difficult times of financial problems, I think we have to be very selective. As the President said, we have to be very selective initially here so that we have the right projects that could rebound actually and have the immediate impact to support our economic recovery.
All right, sir, thank you so much for your time this morning. That was incoming Public Works Secretary Manny Bonoan.